Over the past almost 5 years, Tony Khan has been doing some incredible things for the internet wrestling community, for the IWC. The IWC, who for pretty much 5, 6, almost 8 years now, almost over a full decade now, they had been suffering and they had been wanting a true alternative that TNA wrestling failed to be back in 2010 to 2012 when they had Hulk Hogan, and that they had been severely missing since the days of the Monday Night Wars when WWF bought WCW out way back in March of 2001. So just on that basis alone, Tony Khan, the president of AEW, along with the EVPs, Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Chris Jericho, the pioneer, the very first man, the very first big name to be signed to AEW. They are all attributed to this massive success that AEW has been able to achieve within the IWC, on TNT, on TBS, on Turner Broadcasting, everything. AEW right now, doesn't matter how you cut it, is a massive win for the wrestling business, for the IWC. There is no going around that at all. And the fact of the matter is, Collision, Rampage, Dynamite, the roster, the talented roster, the people behind the scenes, everybody involved with AEW is doing a fantastic job to the point that it is a true alternative, in my mind, to WWE. And it can only grow from here on out. And again, it's going to be a slow burn. It's going to be a slow growth because that's just how it works. That's just a business. Nobody is WWE. Nobody is the machine. They're the machine. They're Disney. So it just baffles me when every single time AEW puts on a marquee show. They put on a hell of a show. Entertainment-wise, Dynamite and Collision, sometimes, a lot of the times, are up there in quality with Raw, with SmackDown, with NXT. So just on entertainment alone, just on talent alone, AEW is up there. So it just baffles me when every single time AEW has this momentum going for them, something happens that pretty much derails them from the next big milestone. And in this case, in my opinion, and it's been Tony Khan's incessant need to, quote-unquote, market himself as a mark on social media. Because every single time AEW does fantastic business, he generalizes it and he tries to compete with WWE. And that's an impossible war. That's an impossible battle to win. Because like I said, WWE is, number one, the leader in sports entertainment. That's not going to change. It doesn't matter how many delusional wrestling fans out there want to talk about how AEW is a better show. It might be a better show sometimes, but it's not the brand. It doesn't generate the business, the revenue that WWE does. And in the business world, that's what matters. So you can't compete head-to-head with WWE. TNA couldn't do it 10 to 15 years ago. WCW tried, and they, for a minute, they surpassed them, but then they did their stupid bullshit that cost them, and they got bought out by WWF. So when you have this array, stacked talent, competing week in and week out, putting hell of a show, great promos, great entertainment, to me, it's a massive disservice to them when all you can talk about on social media, Mr. Khan, is how this product that you are incredibly responsible for, and we thank you for that, we do. But it's a massive disservice to the fact that you want to compare it, you want to contrast it, you want to take shots and digs at WWE instead of putting your talent over every single week. Here's an idea. Instead of talking about how maybe NXT beat you in overall viewership, but you won the demo, instead of talking about that and relaying it to WWE, how about this? How about you talk about the best match of the show? How about you talk about the best segment on the show? How about you put over a segment that went unnoticed on the program with talent that has been underutilized and underestimated on your show? Do that every single week. That is the best marketing you could possibly do for your brand, for your product, for your stars, for your incredibly talented roster of talent and the people behind the scenes that work hard for you and for the fans out there that put on an incredible show each and every single Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday night along with pay-per-views. Do that instead of talking about the competition, instead of trying to compete head-to-head in a battle you will never win because WWE is the leader in sports entertainment. They created this game. That's sports entertainment. That's the game AEW is in. Doesn't matter how many times you mention pro wrestling. It's not full pro wrestling if you have entrances, promos, and theatrics involved. It's not. So stop trying to win the game that they invented and just focus on putting the best product possible, because the talent that you have on your roster, the young up-and-coming talent, Hangman Adam Page, Ricky Starks, Powerhouse Hobbs, Orange Cassidy, MJF, Darby Allin, Hook, so many more. They bust their ass for you, for AEW, for Tony Khan, for every single wrestling fan out there, and all you can talk about on your social media is how it compares to WWE, and it's a shame, and it's a waste, and it's hurting the view, the perception of your company, of your product. So with that said, those are just my thoughts, and again, it's a little rant, but it's just that simple. Instead of trying to become the next recognizable name in pro wrestling like Dixie Carter tried 10 to 15 years ago, like only Vince McMahon was able to do so long term, and then Bischoff and Paul Heyman were able to follow. Instead of doing that, focus on putting on one hell of a show for the fans that buy into your product. That's all I'm going to say about that. So with that said, tune in later on tonight to NXT, to USA Network for another episode of NXT. We have Wednesday Night Dynamite live tomorrow night on TBS. Leave your thoughts, comments, and predictions on the next special announcement Tony Khan has to offer on either on TV or on social media. What do you think about my rant right now? So with that said, I'm Alexis Carrillo. This has been Wrestling Talk, and I'll see you next time.